All right, guys, this is a video a lot of people have been asking for. I mentioned in one of the carnivore videos that I do a lot of shakes, and I've had a lot of people interested in what I do to make my shakes, how I make it, what I put in it, all that kind of stuff. I have previously done a Fruity Pebble video, shake video in the past, and it was a really delicious shake. It just had a lot of ingredients. This one is super basic, super simple. Generally, keeping it simple is really helpful for the digestive system. I'll talk a little bit about the proteins and things like that I use and why I use them. And so I guess we will get started. So here are the ingredients. Those are the basic key ingredients. We'll talk a little bit more about the other ingredients that you can add, but I don't personally add to my shakes all the time. So I just have a regular blender. You can use whatever blender you want. I have like the single cup version of the Ninja, but you can use a big blender. It doesn't really matter. Usually I do about half of this whole cup of ice, and then I bring on the unsweetened vanilla almond milk. To me, this is the one that tastes the best. You can do coconut milk, you can do cashew milk, you can do macadamia nut milk, as long as it's unsweetened, and generally I try to choose the vanilla one. So I shake it up a little bit, and then I pour it on top of the ice first. Usually this helps prevent the proteins from sticking and stuff to the bottom. And generally with the ice and everything in there, it's about a cup, so I'd say probably like a quarter to half a cup. I start with that. If it doesn't blend well, then I add more in just a little bit. So next I'm gonna add in one of my proteins, and I showed you guys both of these options, but I generally always go with the chocolate, and this one is salted caramel. This is the first time I've ever gotten this one. This brand can be quite expensive, I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's not the price that gives you the amount of quality. But look into your products, look into what they're using, look at the ingredients. The ingredients on here are really clean. If you have an issue with gums, probably gonna have a really hard time finding a protein powder that works well for you. Some people with digestive issues have issues with gums. I actually process them very easily. This one is chocolate flavor, natural flavors, cocoa powder, has the guar gum in there. It's sweetened with stevia leaf, and I don't even know how to pronounce this sweetener, but it is 14 grams of protein. It is less than 1 gram of fiber, and it's 60 calories. There is no fat in this. So if you prefer to have a fatty shake, you're gonna have to add fat to it. We'll talk about that in just a moment. So usually if I like to, I'll put like half a scoop of this one, half a scoop of this one. This one over here has 20 grams of protein. So kind of depends on how much protein you want, how much, whatever. So I'm gonna put half a scoop of each of these in there. And I just try to kind of estimate, not gonna go crazy with it, but it makes for a delicious flavor. Okay, so there's another, I'll just add a little bit more. And then I also always add collagen to my shakes. Collagen is so good for you. It's good for your hair, it's good for your nails, your joints, but it's also good for your gut. So I always like to add collagen in. This is my favorite brand. Showed you guys just a little bit earlier. For 2 servings, it is 18 grams of protein. I only use 1 serving. If you want 2 within a day, you can put 1 in your coffee, you can put 2 in your shakes, whatever you prefer. There is no sweetener, there is no flavor to this. That is partly why I like it. This is another one where the brand can be kind of expensive. We have a store locally that sells these at a discount. This one is $10 off, and the other 2, the protein powder, is $15 off. So just try to look for a deal if you can, but these are all really good quality ingredients. So most of the time, this is where my shake ends. I end my day with this. I might add a little heavy cream or MCT oil to it to make it a little bit more fatty, which I'm going to add right now. This is the type of MCT oil I have right now. You can do the powdered form, but again, you're gonna have a binding agent in that. You're gonna be giving yourself a lot more fiber. Usually I'll measure this, but I kind of just go for a tablespoon or so. But this is gonna add a little bit more fat to the shake. You can do heavy cream, things like that. If you're trying to steer away from the dairy, then you don't have to add it in there. So I'm gonna just go ahead and put the lid on this. Again, super, super simple, super basic ingredients here. I really like to keep things simple. It's really a lot better for your gut to not have a bunch of crazy ingredients. But after I'm done making this, we can kind of talk about what type of things you can add to it if you prefer. Okay, so as you can see, it's having a little bit of a hard time blending. So I'm just gonna add a splash more of the almond milk. And this is pretty typical for me. Usually I don't add enough almond milk because I don't like it to be super watery. I like it to be like thick and fluffy. So just another splash of that. And turn off my phone because it's dinging on me. All right. And we'll blend it. All right, so usually it blends for about 20 seconds. And it gets really nice and fluffy and full. I mean, this is pretty much a full thing, which is probably about like 24 ounces or so. That I just scrape off the top. Oh my goodness, this looks so good. Okay, so you can eat it right out of the thing. You can put it in a cup. You can put it in a cup and put a little bit of whipped cream on top in a bowl, whatever you really prefer. I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see this, but it's really like, it's super thick and like fluffy. Oh my gosh, it looks so good. Okay, so it's a lot. It's a lot of volume. If you're finding yourself in a cut or something like that, this is a really great way of getting volume, but not a ton of calories. So right now, this probably has about 20 grams of protein-ish. And then 1 tablespoon of the MCT would make it to about 14 grams of fat. And then maybe a little bit of fiber and some from the almond milk. So it's really not that high in calories. If you aren't keto or aren't low carb and you don't want the fat, just don't add the fat in there. If you do want all of the fat in the world, you can add it by putting in heavy cream, MCT oil. I try not to put a lot of like coconut oils and things like that because it does separate in a cold shake. But you can do like coconut cream or nut butters like peanut butter, hazelnut butter, pecan butter, whatever you want. Or you can put it in a bowl, put some nuts on top of it, and it's just like a perfect little dessert ice cream thing, and it's delicious. So I know that this is super, super basic, but people are so curious about the brands of protein that I use, why I use those. Oh, I was gonna mention to you guys that when I very first started making shakes for myself, I was using a lot of whey protein, and I wasn't looking at the quality. I was going to like Costco and getting the like gold standard regular protein powders, which are fine. If that's what you can afford and that's what's gonna work for you, that's totally fine. However, I started to have some GI distress with those. It wasn't sitting well with my stomach. And it's because of the process that they used to make those proteins. So I try to stick with like 100% grass-fed whey concentrate or something like that, rather than like an isolate or something that's generally a little bit cheaper. So go for quality. Try to get something that's grass-fed. These ones kind of point out the different things that they're good for: skin, joints, GMO-free. It's a patent formula. But it's super, super clean. It is considered an animal product. It is considered dairy product. But if you have a sensitivity to dairy, it does not mean that you are sensitive to the protein that it extracts from the dairy. So it might be worth a try just to like do a little tiny bit and see if you can actually do like a collagen or a 100% grass-fed whey concentrate or something like that. The quality of the protein does matter. The quality of the collagen does matter. So pay attention to what you're putting in your shakes. Those are my favorite brands. You don't have to use them. You don't have to like them. But this is what I use, and I eat one of these pretty much every night. It's a lot easier for me to get the bulk food in during the morning part of my day, eat all of it, let it digest while I'm standing upright, and then I have a shake in the evening and it digests so much better. I go to bed full because there's so much volume in this. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. It was really, really simple. I'm serious, guys. Like, this is so simple. Do not overthink it. Just get quality protein, get quality collagen, get some type of milk that you really like, and ice. And that is it. And if you want to have a fancy time with it, add some nut butters, add some nuts, add some MCT, some heavy cream, coconut cream, whatever it is that you want or desire or like, do it. But start with just super, super basic and do not overthink it. I think this is probably like the biggest thing that people do is they overthink. If you guys want to use it as like a post-workout meal or a pre-workout meal, you can add your branched chain amino acids to it. You can add creatine to it. You can add really whatever you want to it. The shake I did before, I added my fish oil to it. Does not have to be crazy. Does not have to be anything intense. Just start with the basics, figure out how it's going to fit into your macros, and go with it. But for now, I'm going to go enjoy this shake, and I'll talk to you guys later.